Hi everyone, in this video I'll show you how to make this unique drying box for smoking fish. The box is used for two things. After brining, the fish is placed in the box to develop the pellicle, which is the tacky surface for the smoke to stick to. And second, after the fish is taken out of the smoker, it's placed in the box to cool. This drying box is a must for keeping flies off the fish before and after smoking. All right, let's take a look at this drying box more closely. You'll see that there are 5 racks, and the design of the box is based on the size of these racks. So let me go ahead and pull one out. You will see that it is 10 inches wide and 18 inches long. So the design of this box is based on these racks. If you buy larger racks, then of course you'll have to make adjustments to the dimensions I give you to fit the racks that you buy. But if you go by this size rack, the dimensions I give you in this video should work. Let's take a look at the joints here. You'll see that this is a simple butt joint. It's glued together and held together with these brads that join the 2 pieces of plywood until that glue dries up. So I have a top piece, 2 side pieces, and again, simple butt joint down at the bottom. Now what gives this stability is the back. So this back is solid. I'll show you how that is constructed. But this back piece does not open up. So it's not a door on this end, it's fixed. And so that's what gives the drying box its stability. Okay, before you can start to put anything together, I want you to notice here that there are these horizontal strips. These little strips of pine support the racks. So it's really important that you put those in first, attach them to the sides before you put the box together. For the horizontal strips that support the racks, I have them set at 2.5 inches. So 2.5, 5, 7.5, and 10. And that fits 5 racks. And this was designed for fish mainly, but if I decide to put something else in that's bigger than pieces of fish, of course I can take out a rack or 2, or possibly go with just a total of 2 racks to dry something larger. So you can go any combination of racks that you want depending on the size of the meter fish that you are drying. Before I give you the measurements, I want to give a disclaimer about the measurements. They're going to be close but not exact. And the reason I say that is because the bottom piece of plywood and the sides are 1/2 inch. But you'll notice that the top is slightly thinner. This is closer to 3/8. It's an oak laminate plywood. So the measurements I give you for the top and bottom are going to be close, but they're not going to be perfect. So make sure that you check your measurements to make sure that everything fits squarely. All right, let's get the measurements of the top and bottom piece. So the bottom piece is identical to the top piece. So let's take a look at the measurements here. This top piece is 11.25 inches wide. For the length of the top and bottom pieces, I'm going to measure to this point right here, because from here to here is the fixed end. Okay, so let's take our measuring tape. Let's take a look at that, and that's going to be 19 inches long. So 11.25 inches wide and 19 inches long. For the side panel, I am going to measure from here, okay, because again, the top sits on top of this piece, to here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Pull out my measuring tape, and that is going to be 12.5 inches tall, and the length is going to be the same as the top, 19 inches long. All right, let's take a look at this fixed end. You will notice that the screen is sandwiched between this piece of plywood and these strips of plywood here. Okay, this is a solid piece where the opening was cut out. And I'll give you a closer look at that. And then once that was cut out, the screen was laid on top of that first piece of wood, of plywood, and then these strips were laid over the top and sandwiched the screen in place. Here's a view from inside the drawing box of that end piece. So there you see a drill hole made in each of the corners. And it's from those holes that I took a jigsaw and made the cut to make the opening in the end piece. Okay, so as I back out of the box, you'll notice that this piece here is identical to the end piece. So that is one piece of wood. I made the opening by cutting a hole here, here, and here in each of the corners and running a jigsaw along the top, sides, and the bottom to make that opening. The measurements of this is going to be 11 1/4 by 13 1/4 tall. All right, let's talk about how to assemble the top, bottom, sides, and end piece. So the top of this side edge is glued to the top and it is fastened with brads. Once that glue dries, it becomes very, very solid. So you do that on both sides, and you also do it at the bottom. Again, glue and brads. Okay, so that is not going to be stable until you put the end piece down. So at the end piece, you'll need to put glue along the edge of the top and bottom ends, and then place the fixed piece of plywood with the opening in it on top. Make sure everything is nice and square, and then tack it in with brads. Once everything dries, it becomes solid. Now, once you have your basic box assembled, what you'll need to do is take screen picked up at the home improvement store, cut it to size, lay it over that fixed end piece, and then take these strips that you'll need to cut and measure to size, and then just simply tack them down with brads. No glue is necessary here, because you may eventually need to take that out. And if you need to take it out, you're just basically going to pry this loose to change out the screen. All right, now the door is constructed the same as the end piece. So here you have the solid piece of plywood. We have this on the outside, just, it looks better on the outside than on the inside for the door. Then you have your screen that is sandwiched between the fixed piece and these strips of wood. Again, you don't need to glue it, just simply tack those in place. So there's your door. All right, let's take a look at the hinges. You'll notice that I've notched out an opening here with a chisel to fit the hinge, so it's nice and flush. When you close that, you can see that it closes nicely. Okay, and then on this end, we have the latch. Of course, you can get any kind of latch you want, and that keeps it closed. So there you have it. That's how you make this drawing box. Just as a reminder that the measurements that I've given you are not going to be exact. They'll be close, but not exact. It really depends on the size of the material that you use and the size of the racks that you end up buying. The most important thing in putting this together is to measure multiple times so that everything fits nice and square. I hope you decide to make one of these boxes, and if you do, please let us know how it turns out in the comments or email us. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We would really appreciate your support. And as always, thank you so much for watching.